Welcome to the Urban Cowgirl Show, training our horses and miniature cows in ranch versatility. Penning Rusty and Susie, our bull and heifer. Roping Rusty with Morgan horse Semi. Training Eve to drive a cart. Training Eve to work over her haunches with a motor cow simulator. Vaulting on Eve. Training Eve to lay down. Training Eve to harness, pull a log on sand. Training Semi to harness, pull a log on turf. Enjoying our horses as partners. Liberty jumping to music. Training Eve in roping a cow with a simulator. Training on our driveway, which is covered by sand, so we have a straight track. Stepping over poles, jumping over crossbar jumps, transitions to various speeds, working in our obstacles area. Sadie over the haunches with the cable cow simulator. Sadie doing obstacles without rein control. Training miniature Zebu bull Rusty to pull an implement. Mini Zebu heifer Susie being trained to pull a cart with a seated driver. Caleb learns how to harness miniature Zebus, Susie and Rusty for pulling. Caleb is from Kenya.
And I'm here today to work with Rusty and Susie. It's been a few months since we've worked with them because we've been very busy working with my Morgan horses to get them ready for a schooling show, which happened last weekend. But today is a very special day because we have here in Santa Cruz Caleb Omala, who wants to learn how to harness up Rusty and Susie. He's going to take this message and these lessons home to his tribal women in Kenya. So I'm going to let Caleb tell you a little bit more about his objectives. Caleb.
Yes, my name is Caleb. I'm from Kenya, around Lake Victoria. My tribe is called Luo, and today I came here to learn how we can work with the Zebus, particularly the female ones, to help women around the field work easier. So that's why I would like to take as much out of this training as possible to help the women group and women's and orphans in my village. Because of AIDS and other related diseases, there is really need for animals that can help the women make their work easier. Because I read somewhere that a trained Zebu can replace a work done by 20 women.
All right, and Rusty and Susie are trained. I have many shows on the Mini Zebu Show showing you how over these past few years I've trained them, and I use natural horsemanship. I call it natural cowmanship training methods, trying to understand the nature of the animal you're dealing with when you try to train them. Now, Susie, being a heifer, has always been easier to work with than Rusty. We do not rehearse here at Minmore Farms. You are seeing my attempt to deal with Susie and then maybe Rusty today. If Susie and Rusty are not showing any hormonal activity, which so far they haven't, we don't like to work with Rusty when Susie's in estrus. But the way to know is to just start working with Susie and see if Rusty gets real possessive, if he gets real hormonal. And so far, so good. Now, Susie, as you can see, is standing right here. She seems to be ready for me to work with her. I let her know I'm here. I touch her. I'm not seeing any kind of stress in her body language. Not yet. But remember, Susie, even though she's a heifer, she has horns, and they're kind of pointy. So you want to be aware of them. So just like I do with horses, I put, this happens to be a dog leash. With horses, I put a lead line around their neck. And that kind of makes them feel like, okay, I'm caught. Well, Susie kind of feels that way too now. She starts to get the least bit stressed. I'm going to pull her out here away from the water tub. Come on, Susie. I talk to her. Good girl, Susie. I give her praise. I give her petting for the right answer. If she's giving me the wrong answer, I try somehow to apply some pressure and immediately remove the pressure if she gives me ever so slight the right answer. So those are just principles of natural livestock training. Now, this is a horse nylon cavesson that I have made small enough for Susie and Rusty's nose, just by making a hole in the nylon and putting in a short a bolt with a nut on the end. Now this nose is small enough for Susie, and yet the rest of the straps are large enough to go around her neck, who has quite a hefty dewlap, and around her horns. Now I still have her with a dog leash, kind of corralled up here around her neck. Now let me see if she will allow this cavesson to be installed, and so far so good. You see, I'm getting awful close to her horns here, so I'm just being really aware of her body language, and I'm going to deal with it. I'm getting the straps of the cavesson around her neck. I've got a lot of holes in these straps because I also use this for Rusty. I'm going to make it snug, but not too snug. I don't want it falling off her nose. I think I can go one more hole up without making it too snug, but yet being safe that the cavesson's going to be on her nose. Now, what do I like about this cavesson? Why do I choose it rather than a regular halter? Because it is a training device. It has these triangular clips here in 3 different places, so that, and also just a normal ring at the bottom. So I can use it as a halter, but I can also use it for driveline work. Alexis is here to help me. Can you hand me my drive lines? Which, the green ones, under the rope. There you go. Which I made especially for Rusty and Susie. I made them just the right length, so that if I want to do some ground driving with my Zebus, which I've done a lot of and have shows about that, I take out my green driving lines and I hook them to the side clips of this cavesson. And I just use scissor snaps. They're easy to hook. And if I wanted to, you see Rusty's getting a little bit curious here and starting to make a little bit of a noise. Just protective. They're very smart and very protective. There. And if I wanted Susie to go forward, I'm going to ask Caleb to to take this dog leash, and I'm going to ask Susie to step up, Susie, and you just step forward, Caleb. Step up, Susie. Step up. Step up. She's a little bit frozen feet, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to make her move. Okay, what I'm going to ask Caleb to do you know what a serpentine is? Like a snake?
Yes.
So you're going to pull her first this way in the ha direction, then that way in the G direction, and usually that, good. Now go to the G direction. Yes. Step up, Susie. Step up. Step up and pull a little harder. Step up. There you go. That's okay. That was one small step. I give her praise, right? So she's beginning to understand again what it is I want from her. And really what I want to do is get far enough away from Rusty that I can, and the fence here, so that I can go behind her. Okay, keep doing it. And I am using the word step up. Step up, Susie. Step up. Okay, and pull a little harder, Caleb. Maybe go a little closer to the cavison, that's right. And then, okay, and if she gives you ever so slight the right answer, removes the tautness of your line, immediately loosen it. So she understands that the right answer is just to move my legs. Step up, Susie. Step up. There you go. Good girl. Now go to the G direction. Step up. There you go. Now we're getting movement. Now, I like to use my driving whip, but I can use any piece of equipment. There's a piece of PVC. It's just like a 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch piece of PVC. And I'm going to ask Susie to step up. There you go. Very nice. Step up, Susie. Step up. Okay, now I'm going to go ha. Step up, ha. Step up, ha. Good girl, Susie. Whoa. Very nice. Now we got forward direction, we got ha direction, we got G direction. Now, going backwards is also a direction, and sometimes one of the hardest. So now you don't put any pressure on that. You can let it, don't put it down on the ground, but don't put any pressure on it. Now I'm going to ask Susie to back. And she has learned this. Let's see if she remembers it. She's very smart. Susie, back. 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 Back, Susie. Okay, now I'm going to give and take. Back, back, back. Very nice. And then I'm going to make nice. I'm going to let her know that she gave me the right answer. And look what happened. As tight as I made that, it came off. All right. But she didn't freak out. Look, my cavison came off. That means I got to make it a little tighter. And she's still being real good. She's not being the least bit stressed. All right, somehow that fell off, and tell you the truth, that has never actually happened during a lesson. I've always been real concerned about that, but it's okay. It worked okay. Now I'm going to make it ever so slightly tighter. Another hole up. And then I'm going to check to make sure I'm not choking her. It's snug, but for a short lesson I feel comfortable. All right, if I started to think that she was being choked at all by starting to breathe hard or something, I would loosen it again another notch. Okay, so for now I'm going to leave these drive lines on here. I'm just going to lay them across her back. Caleb is going to hold on to her lead line. Now, Susie is looking to you, Caleb, right now as a join-up. She's probably looking to you for security because you're the closest one to her. And it's a very important concept. We use it with horse training all the time. If we have the horse that's afraid to do something, not listening to our cues that we're giving from the saddle or from the ground, then we have somebody go up to the head and with a line or even without a line, walk with them. And that gives them a lot of confidence. Now, let's take... Alexis, let's take one of these. Let's see which one is ready to go. Yes, this one is. Can you take that off the hook? See, I use rafter hangers on my fence to hang my tack nearby where I'm working. This is Susie's surcingle. And it's just a nylon surcingle, not expensive at all. $20, $30, I think. Easy to clean. Just throw it in the laundry. And then I have a string cinch that I put a couple of knots into so that it would fit around Susie's belly. This is just a horse string cinch. And then I've got a lot of extra straps here, and I'll show you what they're all about after I get this nylon surcingle on. Now I'm showing Susie. I'm saying, nice, Susie, very nice. I'm going to let her smell it. There you go. Investigation's very important. I'm letting her see it. Okay, and now I'm going to, this is where she might say, it's been a while since I've had that on. She might start scurrying around. We'll see. And it's been so long since we've worked with her that sometimes when people put tack away, they don't put it away the way I'm used to, so I may have to do some figuring out here what goes where. Okay, now, here is the other end of the cinch, and I'm going to have to get down on my knees. And if this were Rusty, I wouldn't do this. But I'm pretty trusting of Susie. I'm down on my knees, because if I had to get away quickly, it wouldn't be easy. And now I am cinching her up. It's just to a double buckle cinch, similar to an English saddle. Okay, and either she's lost weight, or when we uncinched it, we moved the buckle on the other side. I have to come over here and see if I can cinch it up tighter over here. Oh my goodness. Guess what? Susie's lost weight. Yes, she has. It's a little bit too loose. I'm all the way up on the buckles here. Honest to goodness, she has lost weight. All right, let me see if I can go up one more hole here. But for what we're going to do today, this isn't unsafe. And we are as tight as we can be. Feel it, Caleb. Feel your finger under here, how tight it is. Could be a little tighter, but that's okay. That's going to work. Okay, now the yoke. My precious yoke. It took me a long time to buy a yoke, because I thought I could make do with a nylon breast collar that I use for driving with my horses, and I made it small enough for my cows. But after I finally decided to buy a yoke, I was forever grateful to that decision. This is my yoke. And I had it made at Berrybrook Farm on the East Coast. I had to give them the proper... This is a good time for you to come in. Okay, we're here with Alexis now to help me. The washers that came with the yoke. And then here's the bow that comes out of the yoke itself. And the bow, if you can hold the yoke and then hand it to me when I need it, and hand it to me with these rings facing eastward. Okay, so it's going to be...
facing to her back?
Yeah, that's right. Okay, now we're going to put the yoke. She's being real good. Like I said, I wasn't sure how she was going to behave today, but I'm sure your tribal women in Kenya could work with something like this.
Yes.
All right, now bring the yoke.
You want these ones?
Yeah, not yet. First we're going to put the bow in the holes of the yoke. Now here's the little trick. The bow is longer on one end than the other. It's longer on your end. That end has to go in first. So if you could take the yoke, it's rather heavy. It's hard to hold with one hand. Put it in there and then line it up here. It has to be lined up just at the right moment. There you go. And through we go. All right. Now the yoke is on, and then this the washers, two of them. Nope, one both on one side. Yep. And then the pin. And we need to think about the pin. See, it's got a pointed end. Well, do we want it to be towards her ears, which is soft tissue, or towards her hump, the sides of her hump? Well, it's pretty far away here from the hump, so generally speaking, we do it in that direction. But look, this yoke fits both Rusty and Susie, so you see how loose it is. So what I did was, you have to accommodate with the needs of the project, is I took some old nylon straps that I had, bought a bunch of clasps and carabiners and quick releases, and you see, I'm going to show you on the other side. I am going to steady this yoke by connecting these straps to the bolt eyes of the yoke. So there's one. Now you see it'll still run down, it's still too loose on her neck and it's going to fall. So then this other strap, which comes from lower down on the cinch, gets connected as well. And I make it a quick release. I make it
this one here?
not yet. That's going to be used for Rusty. You'll see.
I mean, do you want me to take it off so there's more? Oh.
No, this is good. This is good. Now, if you could hold Susie, I'm going to ask Caleb to hook up the other side. And then Ed's going to be able to take a picture. Let's turn Susie a little bit more this way. And Alexis, you come here. Good girl, Susie. Let's turn it a little bit more. G, good. I try to always use the language. Now, Caleb, you come on this side. Now, she has very good peripheral vision, Caleb. She is aware that you're back here. You see how she's moving? She's, you were okay up front. Okay. All right, but now she's not quite sure what you're doing on the side. Okay, Caleb Ed's going to move the camera over so he can see. Right, okay. If you could, right. Okay, now, this is a different strap. Really? We use this for a lot of things, but, okay, let's see what we've got here.
This one.
Okay, we've got, as I said, things were put away without me last time. So, okay, here's one that comes from the top of the surcingle, goes here to the screw-eye bolt. Oh, and you don't know how to use a quick release, right? This is a quick release. It's great for training. Watch this. Okay, we can do this. We can just, there we go. Okay, now we're going to go, I'll tell you what, we're going to do this one first. And we're going to go into here. This is a carabiner, easy to attach. If you could hold that. There you go. Okay, now it's being held from the bottom. Now we just have to hold it from the top. And now this quick release, Caleb, it goes through this carabiner like this, and then it fits into the sleeve. You pull it back, push it in, and then it could very easily in an emergency be released. You may want to take some of those with you to Africa.
Okay.
There you go. Okay. Now, if we got in trouble, which we're not gonna with Susie, you know where all the quick releases are. Always have it in your mind. You go, you see, and you're released. One hand. And yet they are safe to use if you don't hold on to this collar. They're not going to release by themselves.
Right, good.
Okay, now we've got the yoke on Susie. Let's just double check everything. Yeah. It's slightly tilted, but Tim Huppy at Berry Brook Farm said that generally happens. Don't worry about it. I don't like it when it's all to the side, and that's why I put these extra straps on. But because of the straps on both sides, it's not going to fall to the side.
Right.
And you'll see that when we put this on Rusty, that it's an even snugger fit. And we don't even need those straps. That's why I use these chains with Rusty. So there you go. Susie is yoked up. And all of these nylon straps and dog collars, it depends what I'm using this surcingle for. Like I've trained Susie for cart. And when you're pulling cart, you have shafts, cart shafts on either side, and you have to make sure the shafts don't come up or go down when somebody in the cart sits in the cart.
Right.
So all of these straps are for those things. Right now, I just leave them where they are, out of the way, know that they're there, but I'm not going to be using them. All I'm using is these nylon straps, which I simply made special to hook to these this hardware here on the yoke, and we are now yoked up. Now, there's one more thing that I'm going to show, but we're not going to use today. We're not doing heavy work. But this especially is interesting to Caleb, and this is going to be on a video that he gets to take with him to Africa, is Susie's breechin. Well, what's breechin? I bet you don't know. Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay. All right. Breeching sits on their hips. And breeching is something you have to desensitize. You have to get a horse or a cow used to it, because very seldom do they have anything on their hips. Right? And breeching is close to their rectum. So when a cow or a horse goes poo-poo, drops manure, drops of cow patty, it very easily can get soiled. This is, it looks like leather, but it is actually plastic-covered nylon, and it is called biothane. It's a very good material to use, maybe not as long-lasting as leather would be if you properly maintain it, but certainly easy to work with because you can just hose it off when you're done. Now, what does the britchin do?
Yes.
Yeah, this is where she's going to object. More than likely, we had to train her to it. She hates, you see what happens when we go anywhere near her back?
Right.
You know, it's almost a reflex.
Right.
She doesn't like things back there. Maybe she'd be worried about lions, you know.
Yes,
it's the nature.
It's nature. Instinct.
Yes. So I'm just placing the britchin on her back, just so that she can feel it. It's all right, Susie. But here's where it sets. If you can get this on camera, Ed. On her hips, and there, I knew she would do that. Okay, so follow us. If a horse or a cow is afraid of something, it's good to let them get away. Okay, I anticipated that. And that's why I warned Alexis, who hasn't worked with Susie before, that just let her walk away. If you do it in small enough steps and with enough repetition, and we have programs where we have had this britchin on her a number of times, but it took a lot of repetition, and you know, it has to be recent repetition because her nature is to say, wait a minute, that could be a lion on my back or whatever,
or a hyena,
or a hyena, right? In Kenya, Caleb was telling me earlier, there are some predators which we don't worry about here, but they definitely, and he has some wonderful slides. Now, what is this? This goes under her tail, which is yet another challenge, right? You're going to put the britchin, let's try again, let's come closer to the camera. You're going to put the britchin on her hips. Do a serpentine. She's giving me a little trouble. Here you go. And you're G'ing now. G. Step up, G. Step up, ha. Step up. Step up, Susie. There you go. Very nice. And then we get forward motion. All right. And we're going to try the britchin again. And this is a crooper, and it is leather. I've never seen a biothane crooper. But you can take it off and carefully clean it with whatever cleaner you need. All right. No, it's all right, Susie, you see?
Yeah.
All right.
She don't like it.
She don't like it. But she's very smart. Believe me, Caleb and I were both marveling at how smart Zebus are. She knows exactly what I'm trying to do. Let me just show you. And Rusty's getting involved here. It hooks on here. Then this sets over her hips.
To be continued in part 2. Shadrach Stables at Minmore Farms. Sadie and Eve. Sammy. Rusty and Susie. www.thesokolos.com